seconds. Welcome back to the Tobin Gregory Group podcast. It's been a minute. Craig just popped on this video before we got launched, which is why we're laughing because I see a Packers jersey. And
yeah, so it's been a long time, I guess, since our podcast. And I believe the last time we had a podcast, I warned Jerry Jones. I said, look, dude, pay CeeDee Lamb. I said, pay Dak Prescott. Then I said, pay Micah Parsons, generational talent, pay the guy. Well, Jerry did not heed my warning. And to all our 230 some odd subscribers, they understood I was going to make some serious changes. Well, my Cowboys 54-year fandom is out.
Oh, me.
Green Bay Packers all the way. Micah, I got the swag. I got everything. I'm a part owner of the team. It feels nice to be a part of a winning franchise.
Dude, I uncontrollably laughed as soon as the camera turned on. So anyways, everybody, welcome back. We're glad you're here. Getting back into the swing of things. We'll be doing this every 2 weeks, twice a month. If something important happens, me and Craig will probably come together and drop some content in between all that. We're just winging it today. I mean, Craig and I didn't even come together to talk about anything. But Craig, your thoughts on, two things I thought about discussing was proposed 50-year mortgage and convertible mortgages.
That's
I'm having agents ask me about that and borrowers,
Yeah, I have a lot to say about that, and that's as big of a joke. That's as big a joke as the Cowboys free agency acquisitions over the last 5 years. 50-year mortgage, really, the average a person stays in a home right now is 11 and 12 years. That's about the data we're at now. In a 50-year mortgage, you're going to basically pay almost nothing towards equity in that home. You're still essentially renting. It's an awful idea. I mean, a 30-year mortgage, your first 6, 7, 8 years is predominantly interest. So if you're going to click out to a 50-year mortgage, that's terrible. The portable mortgage, also bad. I mean, first of all, with mortgage-backed securities and everything else, if you don't have these new loans generated, lenders are not going to be able to be in business. You can't lend money when you're not taking out loans. And taking your mortgage with you, how does that work when you owe $400,000 and the new property is $800,000? Now you got to make up the difference, kind of like assumable mortgages were. You need to make up that deficit. And how do you qualify? The mortgage is based on that specific property. So now you got to transfer to, I think people when, I don't want to say anything negative politically, but I think a lot of people, when they do these things, they're just thinking and brainstorming out loud. I think the problem is when you have people in power that are brainstorming out loud, there's so many people around that are like, oh, he said this is a great idea, when maybe it wasn't thought through. And I do agree something needs to be done because right now, as of yesterday even, now they're talking about maybe we're not doing another rate cut. We don't know. But a few months ago, we're doing 6 more rate cuts. And then the rate cut happens, but it's not as expected, or it is as expected. And rates react higher. And the Fed cut was lower. Why are rates going up for mortgage? And you have to understand, people, that they don't directly correlate all the time. And a lot of these rates are built in by the lender ahead of time based on the anticipation of what's going to happen in the future. The Fed cutting the rate is on the short-term lending with bank to bank. I think Jake and I did a podcast about this before. Mm-hmm. And I just don't have the solution. Now, I'm not Nostradamus either, so I can't tell you, here's the solution. Jake and I are going to tell you how to fix the economy. We can't do that. But we can give you the insight that says, look, these are not really great ideas. I don't think people, there's not going to be enough traction in this when all the people that do know what they're talking about get together and say, okay, this is not going to work. We'll figure something else out.
Yeah. So I have all the passion and everything there and all the insight that Craig and I have in the mortgage industry in the years that we've been doing this should tell everyone that it's unknown, right? There's not a perfect solution. I still believe that when you purchase a home, that's the smartest financial decision you can make, especially if you're renting, because you do have an asset that's building equity and you've got property that no one can take away from you. My take on the 50-year mortgage is similar, but I do think there's a positive place it could impact. It could impact people because we play in a little bit different markets. We have a lot of the high end, but we also have some of the lower end where people have a little bit more trouble getting into houses. And if you can get a 30-year mortgage all day long, that's where you should go. If you can't do less than a 30-year mortgage to get that asset paid down more quickly, to build your wealth, to build your equity in that property. However, I feel like we're still in a 10-year debt. Well, we are in a 10-year deficit for the amount of houses being built by new construction. There's going to be more demand than supply for the next 10 years if that keeps pace. When it comes to, and actually, I just saw a statistic this past week that majority of home buyers were over 40 years old this last year. Majority of people that purchased homes. So I feel like the 50-year mortgage is not going to make sense if you qualify for anything less. But for a younger family or someone trying to break into the housing market, it could potentially be used as a stepping stone for a very unique and niche down portion of people where Craig's right. You're not going to pay any stinking equity in that house down for the first 10 years you own it, but you will gain appreciation as long as houses begin to appreciate. So if you own, for instance, a $300,000 house that you can afford with a 50-year mortgage, every year you're gaining almost $10,000 in equity on that. If nationally we keep pace at 3.5% appreciation in the home. So the place I think we could see it fit would be when it's the only option to build some equity over 5 years and get 40 to 50,000 in equity that you can roll into a 30-year mortgage down the road. So again, I can't stress enough, like Craig did, I don't think it's a good idea, especially if you have other options. But if it's your entryway to start gaining some wealth through appreciation, you're not going to gain anything through equity and paying down on that mortgage. But I would almost recommend that versus going and finding something for $2,500 rent.
I would agree, or even save a little bit of money until you can get into a 30-year, because the monthly savings of 50 versus a 30 might be $200 a month on a mortgage. It's not really going to be anything. But
we ran numbers, Craig, on that with Mike on our team, and a 50-year mortgage versus a 30-year mortgage with 1% interest rate difference. So let's say we're looking at a year from now, 5.5 versus a 6.5. Same payment. Same payment. 1% interest.
It's not going to make it worthwhile. Hold on one sec.
Yeah. So I think it may have its niche. You're killing me. So, okay. So and let me speak on the convertible mortgage real quick, because I think that throwing it out, it's like, oh, this is amazing. I can take my rate and keep it with me. Banks and financial institutions that lend the hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy houses, Craig touched on this earlier, they make the majority of their money front end. And those are the institutions that are lending money. So I can't see, like, as a lender, our job is to figure out what makes the most sense and guide and get everything in place to fund the loan. The investors on the back end, which are the major lending institutions, that they don't want to do what we do, but they just want to give the money and earn interest. They're not going to be interested in letting loans move from one place to another, because the majority of the money they make, unfortunately, is front end. So they're going to want that turnover in the industry. And that's where Craig and I, being the professionals in the industry, can help with your structure to make sure what you're buying is structured correctly, so you're gaining the most equity the most quickly and in the best position for the asset you're purchasing. But I don't think the convertible mortgages, even if they figure it out, it's going to have to be some kind of government funds, because no lending institution that's an investor is going to be happy. Is it cold there, Craig? What's happening?
Well, that's kind of the cue of, look, one of the things is we always promise our subscribers, and this is why they love us so much. we got 7.5 minutes of mortgage talk, and we're over 7.5 minutes.
Yeah, we're good now.
And now it's sports talk. So we will definitely give you guys in 2 weeks more great information. But for right now, it is kind of chilly in my house. Let's talk football for a minute. Your Buffalo Bills are doing pretty well some weeks, and then they get blown out by the Dolphins. I don't really understand what's going on. And one of my fantasy teams, Josh Allen's my QB. 1 week he has nothing. The guy can't do anything, and the next week he's got 6 touchdowns. Buffalo's got to figure that out because, like Green Bay, my people, it's cold up there and the snow's about to come, and how are they going to react in the cold weather? My team, the Packers, same deal, cold weather teams. For whatever reason, coaching is not good on any team that I follow. I don't know if I'm the problem here, but it seems like I watch coaching, and this week LaFleur, the head coach of the Packers, said, "Yeah, I don't really talk to my kicker much," and I'm like, "What? He's one of your most important players, and you don't know the status of your kicker and that he's hurt?" Or I'm like, "Come on, man." The Eagles, I still hate the Eagles. Sorry to all my subscribers that are Eagles fans, but that's the worst pass interference call I've ever seen in person. I mean, the guy wasn't even touching them, and there was pass interference called. That would have been 4th down. Detroit would have had the ball back. I'm not a Detroit fan either, so as you could tell, being in my division. But the officials and the NFL, I really think at this point, I never was a conspiracy theory guy. There's a script. Something's going on. I mean, there's too much going on to where I know Kansas City always gets the calls. The Eagles always get the calls. There's certain teams that always get the calls, and there's phantom flags being thrown. I still think the tush push needs to be banned. On every other tush push, there's a false start not being called. They show it constantly, and that's such a bad football play. Get it out. Awful. But, it's the way I look at it is the NFL season, we're getting closer to the playoffs. The Ravens, so here's the other thing. So the Ravens were 1-5, and we're still plus 100 to win the division when Pittsburgh was 3 games up on them. Now, I know the Ravens had an easier schedule to close out the year, but you're telling me a team that's 1-5 and only 3 times in the history of the NFL have they made the playoffs, much less win the division? I just need to get a hold of the script in advance, so maybe I could pick a team that would win once in a while instead of, the Cowboys, who didn't win for 30 years and didn't even try and win. And, obviously, if you're not trying to win and you're worth $12 billion, Jerry, what are you doing, man? I mean, it's you look at the guy, and he doesn't even look like he knows where he is anymore. I feel bad for him, but I also, as a Cowboy fan that in the past, it's upsetting for the fan base that's obviously national. But
how many other, because he's the face of the organization, but he needed to just be the face and let go a long time ago. I think that's part of the Cowboys' problem is he was too involved in wanting to control everything, and it's been detrimental.
Yeah, I agree. And now it's there's the New England Patriots.
Yeah, where do they come
from? Wow. But the question is, are they that good? Like, I'm not sold on them or the Colts. Like, Indianapolis and the Patriots are 2 of the top teams in the NFL this year. That makes no sense.
They won't get into playoffs. I mean, as long as you make it to playoffs, it's all about how you play postseason.
I don't think either of those teams are going to win a postseason game.
Yeah.
Danny Nichols is not going to be doing anything. I mean, he was Danny Dimes on the Giants. He's Danny Nichols now. I mean, he's still the same guy. But, the problem is that team, Jonathan Taylor's a beast. I mean, that guy, if you don't bet on that guy to score a touchdown every week, then you're losing opportunity on money. But besides him, the team is pretty average. I don't understand that team. But hockey season's back. It's been a while. Wow, we've been through like 4 sports seasons since our last podcast.
It feels like
it. The New York Rangers, wow. For some reason, I really know how to pick them. This is a team that cannot win at home, but wins every game on the road. They literally were like 8-1 on the road and 0-6 at home. I don't get it. Like, I feel like it's Ghostbusters. Up is down, left is right. Like, none of this makes sense.
Let's see how it goes. I saw something about a new head coach starting to come across for the Bills, and I'm like, man, really? So I gotta do a little bit more research on what's going on. I haven't been able to follow the season with the family and the young kids and all that. It's been just busy all the time. So it's not been a good year for me keeping up to date and watching things, but still love it. So,
Well, I'm glad we were finally able to get back in here, and stay tuned, people, because in 2 weeks on our next podcast, you might get to see me burn some cowboy stuff that I had.
you need to get a split jersey.
We're getting rid of some stuff. Some of that's going to the homeless, although from what I understand, the homeless don't even want to wear the cowboy stuff. So I'll give some stuff away, and some's getting burned because I can't take it anymore. And
yeah,
the last thing I'll leave you with is go pack go.
go pack go. Follow us,
So
guys. If you haven't subscribe. We'll bring you some more mortgage and real estate related information. We won't bombard you with it, but every couple weeks, got some really cool tools coming as well to help you no matter where you're at within real estate industry. If you're looking for real estate or if you're looking for financing, no stress ways to get the right answers, have things reviewed, and some other things. So stay tuned for that. I might go ahead and be able to drop that link below in this video by the time it posts. So check that out. It'll help you no matter what you're doing in real estate. And we look forward to catching you guys on the next one.
thanks, guys.